We cuttin' loose.
You ain't about your business. You ain't cause we winning.
I cut loose, that's what I do. You should too, but it's on you. I cut loose when the mic's in my hand, man. Got 'em laughing they face off. And case might be permanently off. Sergio, with the business here, boss.
I cut loose, what ain't good for me. I cut loose cause it's good for me.
I cut loose when the mic's in my hand, man. Got 'em laughing they face off. And case might be permanently off. Sergio, with the business here, boss.
I said, well, I'm kind of in trouble right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how this is going to work for you. He's like, why you have those handcuffs on? And I was like, because I stared at him. You know, I acknowledged him, you know, as a human being. And he was like, no, you're not going to jail today. I was like, oh. Let's see how this works, you know what I'm saying? Let's see how this power of color and power of power, you know,
Right.
you know, navigates into my life and my belief and my dream.
But I'm listening to you. That mental thing is crazy.
Isn't it?
It's like you not going to jail and you happy about not going to jail, but you in prison.
But you're
like,
in prison.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the
And
mental
too
psyche
much,
behind
On
it.
top of that, did the Colonel gentleman guy, did he smash the box? Like, did he get rid of that?
He gave it to a Lanky, and one of his Lankies, and in order for him to feel like he was doing something, he slammed it against the wall.
Gotcha.
And that's all they do. They all try to please the bigger guy.
Oh,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And it's the weirdest thing
Yeah,
because
it's
the
the
bigger guy is
one-upmanship.
such a nobody in life, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking him. I'm just telling you that, you know.
I'll knock him. Sounds
Yeah.
like a loser.
You know, but I'm saying all this to say it's gonna lead to something bigger, and I want you to understand why I'm laying it this way. I want you to see how good and evil takes place in that place. But sometimes evil wins, you know what I'm saying? And we're letting it win, and we're allowing it to happen. Okay, so. That being said, this gentleman turned around and told the colonel, he said, I need him. So take the handcuffs off of him. And the colonel said, I can't even fucking lock nobody up around here. So that's what he said.
It's almost like he gets a thrill out of it.
Yes.
He just does
He
it
loves
to
it.
get that ego
He
trip.
loves it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what
Yeah.
he loves. It's what they love, you know? So they take the handcuffs off of me. And I'm just staring at this man like, I've never seen him before, you know? So he's like, I've heard about you. You know, we heard about your music outside, and we heard about the things that, and I think it's unfair that, you know, the rock band has ability to perform and ability to do music inside, because they had a band room, but only rock bands were allowed to perform. Only rock bands.
And I wonder what kinds of
Ironically,
people-
derived in pop culture as devil music.
Yes, and it was and I mean rock, like it was definitely screaming.
Rock came from
Yeah,
I was about to say
Yeah.
Chuck Berry invented
Yes,
rock
but
music.
Americanized white rock was regarded as devil music even by white people.
yes,
And more so, the fact it was a different generational swing. Around that time, I'm sure it was a little bit different in 2005. Yeah. But at a certain point, parents wouldn't let their kids listen to their music.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because they realized the headspace it put them in when they were partying in their youth. And it was like, I don't want my child to be subject to that. So not necessarily actually putting devil in your heart, but more so the implications of situations you would find yourself in living that lifestyle.
That's
the
right.
first wave of country music. Country music came from black people, like the blues. That's what
Yeah.
really all
That's
started
right.
off and everything. Once that happened, and when white people took it over and said it's ours, then come folk music, and it was like, okay, then
Yeah.
That you're right. You're absolutely right. They and I mean, appropriated is the word, but you know, let's understand that, you know, they use mockery as a compliment, as a flattery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's excused as, we love it so much that we can do it and do it just as good as you, and it's an honor to do
Claim
it.
it,
You know?
Mm.
Yeah. You
And I
know,
think
so-
it goes back to like what you were saying, that they allowed rock music but not hip hop and rap, because
it's crazy.
it feels very racial. Like
It's
you know what I mean?
crazy.
It's like, oh, this is just a black and white.
Yeah,
thing.
that's like
you
saying
want-
that's like saying no backwards hats at the club.
Yeah.
Like, who's this dress code for?
Yeah.
Consider
Even when I
me
pull up
and
to
my
apartment
friends.
complexes and they're like, you can't back into a parking space, I'm like, this is racist. I can't. What do you mean I can't? I can't back in. I always back in. You know?
No chitlins.
Yeah.
You like to throw it back.
Hold on. Pause. All right, we'll be right back after these messages. Carlos is off the wagon.
There you go.
Carlos a superstar, man. Leave him alone, man. He's
So-
a superstar.
So the warden was essentially just coming to you, laying out the
So
disparaging and fairness.
it pretty much got to a point where I felt that, I at that point I kind of came to find out that, he had enough of what was going on with that regime. He had recently came in and took it over. They don't tell us that stuff, so we just learn as when people come in and just start, kind of telling us shit and, and abusing us and whatever. But, so it goes away, you know what I'm saying? So he stood there and he says, from now on, you're going to have 2 days in this band room, the complete day, and I want you to create a music program for hip-hop and R&B.
Wow.
So,
Look at God.
That's crazy.
and like one
Yeah.
that you would front, like you would start like putting people together and like actually promoting it and like putting it together yourself.
Yes,
Or like you
yes.
just wanted you to be involved.
no, he wanted me to run it and create it, so I created it. And the best part was that he allowed donations from family members.
Oh wow.
So we had all sorts of people who were supportive, donating all sorts of stuff. And with my knowledge, I was able to, tell them, okay, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need. So we built up pretty much a complete studio in there.
Wow.
Wow.
A prison studio is intense.
Pretty much something that you can actually release albums if you wanted to and sound better than some of the stuff out here. I mean,
Wow.
Oh,
put
yeah.
it that
Dope,
way.
man.
And the thing is that the people understand the type of pain that we were under, so they were like, let's help them. You know what I'm saying? Let's donate. Let's give them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's keep their spirit up. And I remind you, there was a lot of lifers in there, and there's a lot of lifers with a lot of talent. You know what I'm saying? A lot of talent.
Wow.
Like the R&B band. That
I bet.
Yeah.
The
And
R&B
endless
band.
time to develop it.
Yes, yes. The R&B band that we put together.
So let me ask you this about the prison life. I'm curious because
Yes, of course.
I got a homeboy, several that's still there,
Of
right?
course.
But these guys call me from a cell phone and FaceTime me in prison.
Yeah.
How y'all getting them phones through there, bro?
Yeah.
He got an iPhone. This is the crazy thing about it. Like,
That might be a gag order. They're using these same methods today.
Humans, man. Humans are greedy. You know what I'm saying? Humans, as long as money is important in this world, everyone got a price, which is, I'm sorry to say
you
that.
had a cell phone?
No, that's real.
Yes.
You
yes,
had one?
Yes.
That's crazy. Boy.
I had
It wasn't an iPhone.
What model cell phone in 05?
I had all sorts of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
The
So
hottest phones back then were probably like Blackberries, before Blackberries. Probably.
so yeah, we had
Little sidekicks, you little flip, little
we had everything that came out. We had the Air Forces when they came out. Some of us were able to get the Jordans in. You know what I'm saying? And how this came about again was music. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you're going on the R&B group and how much talent they had. Sorry, I just didn't want you to miss that part.
Oh yeah, of course. So amazing. You know what I mean? Think about guys that have been playing music for 30 or 40 years. You know, there was a guy, and I consider him a hermit. You know what I'm saying? God bless him. I hope he's okay. But you guys know that a hermit is someone who sits at home, and this is what he does all day. You know what I'm saying? This is who he is. But those people don't mean that because they are the way they are doesn't mean that they're less talented. This man was probably one of the most genius men I ever seen behind a guitar. You know what I'm saying? Like he can break down a song from the radio so that we would have material to perform in 3 minutes.
Wow.
The complete song. Snare drum, kick, the hi-hat,
Oh, that's crazy.
the bass line. You know what I mean? Like So imagine the stuff that I picked up with these people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Imagine the blessing that I was gathering while I was under this pressure.
Yeah.
And considering that I was like, okay, I'm not important. Or am I? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just a building process. It's just the oven that we talk about in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? What is happening? Because I'm not supposed to be doing this and I'm not supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? So, having said that, we built the program and it was amazing. You know, it turned out to be an amazing program in the sense that they gave us our first hip hop show in the span of over almost 15 years since they stopped the thing. The first one.
Wow.
Now, did it look like a movie? Yes, it looked like a movie. Now, in this particular prison, in the performance area, they have these catwalks where the officers can walk around on top. And for this particular event, they loaded that place up. And I mean, you're talking about maybe 1,200 officers. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 3,500 of the most vicious men, you know what I'm saying, the state of Florida. Wow.
Policing a rap show.
Yes. Right. Think about this. You think that a show out here is pressure? Nah.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's pressure, you know, because I did music before I went in there. So I was like, okay. But when I put this show together, you know what I'm saying, I didn't get that vibe. You want to know what I got? I got men who had an opportunity to do something special. Good men. Men who learned their mistake, but don't get that opportunity. You know? They don't get that opportunity.
Right.
Or the community.
I was thinking about, you know, the opportunity, and I said, why did they give Kodak Black that opportunity and didn't help him? They used it as a mockery. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about they pardoned him?
Yes. I know 3 men who had three different daughters who continued to visit this man because he did something wild with his wife, and you know she was unfaithful. And anyways, he ended up with 2 life sentences. He saw his daughters die. You know what I'm saying? All 3 of them from cancer while he was in there. You know what I'm saying? And they would visit him. You know. But this is a man who changed his life, you know what I mean? Became a priest, did things positive. Why not look inside these prisons and look for men who deserve that opportunity?
Right.
You talking about like a incarceration got talent situation where top 3 go to Vegas?
Something like that. That'll work.
Instead of a golden buzzer, they got like a golden shank.
Thanks, man. You got the golden handcuffs. You can unlock these twice a day.
I like that.
Golden
you know?
shank is
So get back to the whole thing, right? The concert. So how did you set it up? Did you host it? Or?
I performed one song. I wanted to do a song. Now remember, when I came in, I had very little experience in the sense of working with a band. I was more of a hip hop beat maker, you know what I mean? So now I'm working with some of these incredible talented men, you know what I'm saying? And the way that the music flowed, you know what I mean? And I'm going to get back to that here in the next couple of months to doing that type of music. But as an artist, you sit back and you say, this man loves that instrument, so he's going to make me sound amazing. You know what I mean? So what I did is I did the whole show live for all the artists. You know what I'm saying? So all the rappers had live music. There was a guy in here who sounded like Tupac, and he killed it. You know what I'm saying? Like people. But here's the great thing, right? When I grabbed that microphone and I stepped up and I saw all these men, and I saw all these, because this is what they would do, very important too. They would bring people from all over the state, all the big people, all the big wigs and all that stuff to make themselves look good. Hey, look what I can do with my trained little people. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Look what my little people could do for me. Look how they jump for me and stuff. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? But it's a give and take in a crooked system. You see what I'm saying? It's a give and take. It is, because it's understandable that you gotta give them something in order for you to get something. You know what I'm saying? Now, I was not the type to be like, oh, they had snitches, they had all that stuff. What I had was my music. You know what I'm saying? What I had was my talent. and I used that, you know what I'm saying, to survive and get through that path.
Yeah.
Now, physically, hate, you still had, you know, some rappers, you know, it happens in there too.
Did you get any pressure? Or
Yeah,
hate from
it
the
happens
show?
in there. It happens in there too. I mean, you had guys who I guess they felt they could rap, and it was hard to tell them no. You know what I mean?
How do you turn down a lifer named Sir Shanks Alive? You gotta let him get the remix or something.
You get ad libs.
funny.
Yeah.
So it was hard, you know what I mean? But it got wild sometimes, and you know, and but that's the element of where you're at. You know what I mean? That some people just in there is, you know, and I was telling him the other day that, you know, and remind me not to get away from my point.
Yeah, I got you.
I was telling him that when you're in there, they give you a sense, a heightened sense that they don't prepare you when you get out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So this heightened sense, you know, when you get out, it's a sense of always acknowledging when someone wrong or somebody means wrong to you. You can't shake that. You know what I'm saying? Because you lived with it so long that you kind of, you know what I'm saying? You sit at restaurants.
Right. It's almost like a hyper empathy for yourself.
Yes.
Like you're not going to let the same things fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, and they don't prepare you for that. And that is why, you know, and I'll go back to my subject, but I just wanted to add that. That's why in the state of Florida, it's almost like a trap. You know what I'm saying? They create these mental sections for these people, and then they just release them back out and said, you'll be back. And then when you come back, I'll get you for a longer time. You know what I mean?
It's like a recycling bin almost.
Like a boomerang of a
Yeah,
human
yeah.
being. It's insane. You know what I
And
mean?
Florida's privatized, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Michael Jordan, all the big wigs. You know what I'm saying? So this is a business. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Human beings are a business in Florida. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the private prison industrial complex is one of the worst things to happen to society. Me personally.
Yeah.
Me personally. Because it's not
Electoral
designed.
college and private prisons is how they've
Yeah.
been controlling people for the last 100
Yes.
years.
Yeah, it's not designed to like rehabilitate people or make them see good. It's usually just designed to keep you down and make sure you come back. And
Yeah, and they'll do it regionally because it'll be individual states or individual like jurisdictions of a county, and those are the sections where people don't make it out historically.
Yes.
And when they do, they rise much higher because it's like, oh, he was stuck. He got his way out. There's 100 million other people who couldn't. It's like, what's his story? What's his situation?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree.
It's scary when, you know, let's look at it like this. You know, when someone has a long sentence, to see that same person come back 3 times. I just saw you like 2 years ago, man. Yeah, man, I can't. You know, I go out.
Wow.
Shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Life is different. You know, things don't click right. You know, and it's not that. It's that they didn't prepare. Yeah, you know, and if you look at a human being in there that is not mentally preparing themselves or mentally keeping themselves in a healthy manner, what you're gonna get is these type of men that come out. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel that the hip hop program and music in general helped people find a community that helped them better integrate? Because
Oh man, so this is to wrap that up, and I'm glad you took me back there. To wrap that up, because I want to get to my actual point, and it gets worse. Yeah. And this is what I want to release out there also. So I stepped to the mic and I looked at all these men and I said to them, don't give them what they want. This is about us. This is for us. This is not for them. Ignore that they're here. You know what I mean? Just forget they're here.
yeah.
All they did was allow us to have what they have. When we should have had it. Yeah, when we should have had it, you know? When we should have had it. So don't give them an excuse to not have it again. You know? And they all clapped in unison. And remember, a lot of these people don't get along. Many of them don't get along. You know, you have the Aryan Nation. You have the Wiccans. You have the Vikings. You have the Black Pandas. You have Latin Kings. You have.
That was a good movie, Wakanda.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And I was about to say Aryan Brotherhood. Isn't that the elementary school you went to? Jose?
Sound familiar.
It was in Baltimore.
Graduated with honors.
You know, but they clapped together in unison, and it felt great, man. You know what I'm saying? It felt great to know that men who are looked at as animals and people who cannot understand that they have to change actually do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually can.
Yeah, and if you take music out of that entire equation, that same speech is equitable to what you would say, don't give them what they want. Don't come back here. Don't relinquish your control to this lifestyle.
No. It breaks them down. You know what I'm saying? There was a young guy who came in. He came in. He was 19, and he had a baby. He had a baby. He had a wife, a girlfriend. When they both came in, they were young, and you know, you meet these people because you try to relate to kind people. When they first come in, they're still kind. You know what I'm saying? They still don't have that negativity and that hate that you're about to gain, because you're gonna gain it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have it. You're gonna earn it, and you're gonna walk with it, and it's gonna be part of who you are if you want to survive. If not, you're gonna live a life in which you live in fantasy world, and the first hawk that comes out and says, "Yo, let me get that bag," you gotta give that bag up. Because when you go to canteen and you can't fight, you gotta get the bag up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Quick story on that real quick.
Yeah.
But I remember going to visit him. This was in 33rd, right? So this was the county jail.
Terrible.
This is before he got shipped out. You go to county jail for a period of time.
Hellhole.
Right, and then they'll
That's
figure
the
out what they want
worst.
you.
That's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
It's worse than the prison. 'Cause at least when you get to the prison, you know where you're going to be at. You know what I'm saying? You got your cell. You know how much time you got. You got that
Click
pressure
up a little
off
bit
it.
if you need to.
Right. Aryan Brotherhood. So they didn't even have to look for Holder. He was just like, "Hey, I'm here."
Cop shaved my head on the way in.
I was like, "How the hell did that inmate get a tie-dye shirt?" So went to go see him at 33rd, and they weren't doing face-to-face visits. It was all through a screen. He was at the center, and then you'd be at a different center, and you had like a public phone type deal, and you see each other through the old school. Like, just imagine an old computer screen, you know, with the fat back and all. And he comes out. Dude already had a black eye. I was like, "You been here like 2 weeks, man?"
No.
I was like, "You been here like 2 weeks."
Yeah.
Like, and you got a black eye, so it's like you got to go into that. Like, it makes you, whether you want it to happen or not, you have to make that decision when you walk through that door. You know, like, I'm either gonna get, I'm gonna be just the prey, or I'm gonna stand up for myself. You know, like, it's that serious. So when you watch the documentaries and all, like, it's really like that for the most part. You got to make that decision.
Yeah,
you have to. You have, you know, they don't even give you a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even get a choice.
Before we go back to the music, I just want to harp on that really quick. Was there ever a situation where people would come in and do the stereotype, pick out the biggest guy, start a fight, and it just like, and miss? People who just like ruin their whole prison career off the rip?
Prison careers.
Yeah, they got careers in prison.
Praise of the day.
Shout out to Buddy Rowe if he's still alive.
Oh man,
Buddy Rowe.
That's a good name already.
Buddy Rowe was Trick Daddy's homeboy. He ended up in the same area, and he had like 3 life sentences. This guy was wild.
Jeez.
But he was excused because of his mental. He had a mental certificate that allowed him to roam freely amongst general population, which is crazy because this is a guy who literally would just kill people for no reason. Which brings me to our next point before I go into that story, that Florida has the highest cases of crimes not solved currently in prison.
Wow.
Really?
So you don't hear about them because, you know what? They're getting solved in prison.
Right.
Oh, that's
See
great.
what I'm saying? So, yeah, you're not going to hear about
And that's
them.
when you see the cases. It's like, 17 years served. It's like, turns out there was a neighbor who skipped town that next day the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Buddy Rowe, great. I'll tell you a quick story. Buddy Rowe was 335 pounds of muscle, 6'7", gigantic dude.
Man.
Just a giant. You know what I mean? It's the weirdest thing because, God teaches us not to judge people. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't judge him. You know what I'm saying? I have to live with him. So I have to give him his space and he has to give me mine. Or one of us has to die. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not going to stop and I have to survive. You know what I'm saying? I'm only 5'11", 5'10", and you know what I'm saying, 180 pounds. So you make the connection there. It's a survival mode thing.
Yeah.
So every Monday the bus would come and fresh meat come off, and they're walking down with their chains and they're walking off the bus. And Buddy Rowe had a tendency to stay at the gate and howl at who he wanted. And scare the out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like scared. I mean, some of them would cry.
Gee.
Cry.
Should I cry?
Were you allowed to look at him?
6'7", 335?
Yeah, he would
He wanted all the eye contact.
Yeah, he wanted everything. You know what I mean? But one of them decided that he wanted the funny thing is that Buddy didn't even pick him. Buddy didn't even pick him. He was talking to the one in front of him, I think it was, and we would watch it because we would make sure that it wasn't one of ours that he would go for. You know what I'm saying? We
Like
would
someone who
protect
didn't know better.
Yeah, we would protect our own, you know what I'm saying? And we'll give him his room. Most of the time, and no offense, but it was always young white kids that he would go after.
They are fun to pick on.
I'm just calling it how it is. I'm telling you the true facts of how they lived in their innocence. But yeah, it was mostly them. But this one particular one, I remember he walks and he's in front of his buddy's talking to him. The guy's in the back, and he just throws his bag. He's like, "Oh, F you! You don't want to see these hands." And he's like 4'9", 122 pounds. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God.
He was hoping he'd get bored.
You made yourself known to a killer. Basically, he had overseen you, and then you basically said, "Here I am." You know.
Was his name Will Palomino?
I haven't seen him in a while.
I saw him last night.
No, he's on the way.
He's on the way here?
Yeah.
Oh.
He told me he was on the way yesterday
Shout out
when I
to
saw
Will,
him last
man.
night.
Shout out to Will. I want to do some work with
Will
Will.
fired.
So, long story short, once they get cleared from medical, they're allowed to walk into their dorm. This particular guy walked right into the wrong dorm. Because when I'm walking into my dorm, all I saw was this young man in the air, and Buddy Rowe is choking the ass out of him.
Wow.
And usually what means after that is when you go to sleep, it's over with.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And as crazy as that sounds, and as this is happening in right now, you know what I'm saying, in America.
100 times over.
Yeah. And it's probably happening in every prison. And they don't reform this. They allow this. They encourage this. They encourage this behavior. You know how they create some of these men. They allow a Buddy Rowe to run around and create this fear and allow him to hurt these people. Because if you know that's what he does, and you've seen him hurt, he's already killed 2 people inside.
It's like releasing
Why
a
is he
shark
still
at the
running
beach.
around? Why
Allegedly.
not put him in a room like you would put?
You still put him there.
You don't need lifeguards if you release a shark at the beach.
Exactly. So
It's
music-
purposely doing.
yeah,
It's purposely
yeah.
doing
So
that. That's
music saved me in that sense, to get back to this, because I want to get to my point. I don't know if we have much time, but I want to get to my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're good.
So, music in that sense was what put us on. So we had that conversation. I told the man they had an incredible show. I'm talking about an incredible show. I've performed out here in many stages. I've done Universal with gigantic stage, 5,000 people. I've done them all. I felt them. I know the energy. But this one was different. You know what I'm saying? Seeing all those guards up there with those rifles You know what I'm saying? Seeing these people that hate them, but at the same time, there was a moment there when they were like vibing with them. You know what I'm saying? When the music felt so good that they couldn't help. You know what I mean? The selection of songs that I put together, because I took old R&B songs like September and I mixed them so to allow rap in them. You know what I'm saying? So that they could see it doesn't have to be negative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be about smacking, or doing this or Molly that or whatever. You know, it don't have to be about that.
We cutting loose.